All right, we are live back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Carter, how was your weekend?
Man, it was awesome. It was awesome. What do you mean? We had college football all weekend long. So it's kind of a weird weekend because it was Labor Day. So I didn't have my kids Friday and Saturday. So I just hung out, watched college football all day Friday, leading up to the big Notre Dame game at the end there. And then Sunday, had my kids Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, which is part of the reason we didn't go live Monday. But it was awesome, man. You got to watch Notre Dame, Texas A&M. Got to watch all the big boys play on Saturday, and then obviously LSU, USC on Sunday, and then finish it off with the Boston College Florida State game Monday. Man, it was one of the better weekends. And then this weekend is going to be even better. You got all the college football plus NFL starting. I mean, this is the best time of the year, man.
Good things, good things.
How was yours?
My weekend went fairly well. Nothing too crazy. Hung out, took some
Mhm.
hamburgers and hot dogs, had some hee-hees and ha-has, and
Yeah.
nothing too crazy.
Hey, absolutely, man. Sounds like a good time. But we're in the full swing of things, man. College football is live. NFL is about to start. I actually am like 15 minutes away from starting a fantasy draft while we're on the podcast. That scheduling didn't go at all as planned. But so anybody who jumps on the live or is out there listening, I have the fifth pick in a 10-person league snake draft. Who should I take? Who am I taking at 5?
Mm, I think you deep down you want to take Russell Wilson.
No, I definitely do not want to take Russell Wilson. I'm not. Russell Wilson could be the only quarterback left, and I'm not taking him. I'll rock without a quarterback. But I think at 5, I'm either taking Tyreek, Amon Ra, or Justin Jefferson. It's in there.
You think Justin will slide to 5?
So on ESPN, which is where we're drafting, they have him ranked as the number 8 player. So they have Christian McCaffrey 1, Bijan 2, Brees Hall 3, and then it goes CD, Tyreek, Amon Ra, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. I mean, one of the Amon Ra, Tyreek, or Justin Jefferson will probably be there at 5, so I'll probably end up with one of them. I'm not taking Jamar Chase, which is kind of jumping the gun, but we can get into it since it's kind of fantasy football NFL update. I'm not taking Jamar Chase. I'm not. There's Tyreek, Amon Ra, Justin Jefferson could all be gone. I'm still not taking Jamar Chase because it came out today that right now Jamar Chase is trending to not even playing week 1. And if you know anything about the Bengals, they do not negotiate contracts once the season starts. So if they don't have a deal done before Sunday when the Bengals kick off, this thing's going to drag out. And if he's not going to play week 1, I mean, he might Le'Veon Bell it and sit the whole year.
Yeah, and I would heed some advice because we all know how the Le'Veon Bell situation turned out because the Steelers, I think, offered Lev Bell 12 over 5, and or it may have
No,
been
yeah, it was 60 over 5, so it was 12 a year, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they offered him 12, and
He
he
sat out
ended
a
up.
year, didn't get paid, and ended up getting like 11.5. And it's like, dude, you didn't even like up
I
your
think
ante.
I think it was. I think he got 10 for 5 in New York.
Maybe whatever it was. I mean, it wasn't even close. Like, it wasn't worth sitting out a year. You could have made $12 million a year sooner. Your career went down the shitter after that, anyways. I mean, Jamar Chase is younger, so he could have a longer career after that, I think. But my thing is, dude, who do you think you are? You have 2 years left on your deal.
Well, it's you see CD Lamb, you see Justin Jefferson, and these guys see all these dudes getting these
Yeah,
big
but guess what
contracts.
they did?
They
They
earned
waited
it.
until the last year of the deal.
Well, apparently the guy really likes Cincinnati and wants to get it done early, but I don't know the NFL is where the NFL is trending because these quarterback contracts are eating most of the cap and it's crippling these franchises.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously doesn't want to be in Cincinnati that bad, Because if he wanted to be in Cincinnati and wanted to get it done early, let's say, he wouldn't be asking for $40 million a year or whatever he's asking for. I think it's 40, right? Because Justin Jefferson
Yeah.
is getting 35. I think that's right. But either way, he's asking for the most money any receiver's ever gotten, and he wants it a year early. That's not wanting to be in Cincinnati. That's not helping your team. That's not being a team player, I'm not saying you need to be a team player when it comes to your money. I want everybody to get their bag, but you're doing it a year early. Like, who do you like? Nobody else gets the deal done this early, hardly ever. And the Bengals definitely don't do deals this early. Look at T. Higgins. Look at, everybody. Like, no, you're overstepping. You're not better than CeeDee Lamb. You're not better than Justin Jefferson. So why do you think that you deserve special treatment and you deserve $5 million more a year? It's ridiculous to me. But
Well,
if you look at it, this is his track record, man. If the Bengals should have known what they were drafting, dude sat out a year of college football.
hey, the NFL scouts and the NFL security, they know more than me and you. That's why Danny Dimes is getting paid $40 million.
Well, yeah, but
So,
it's amazing. But anyways, that's just my little NFL rant. Jamar Chase is, it's entitlement behavior, and I hate that. But it is what it is, man. Sit out and see if you get your money. I know historically the Brown family doesn't do it.
One other thing on that is that you don't think NIL maybe played a part in this?
Like what? Like him sitting out a year, or what?
Oh, well, and getting paid in college, getting paid early. Everybody tells you you're great, you're deserving this.
Was he getting NIL?
He might have been right after they started it, but
yeah, I can't remember when exactly it started. I want to say the year that it started was the year he sat out, so I don't even know if he made NIL money.
But I just feel like the way it's trending, the next topic we're going to talk about, kind of sums it up. So,
yeah, absolutely. So getting into college football and just some random stuff around the social media stratosphere. First things first, USC looks like a team, man. We aren't going to break them down today, but they look like a team that may have figured something out. Their defense looked good. We'll see what LSU's offense is. But overall, USC, that might be Notre Dame's toughest test, and we'll break down one of their other tough tests that we thought was going to be tough. But as always, when it comes to me, I loved every second of that USC LSU game.
Well, the big takeaways for me on that game was I thought Lincoln Riley came out and did some things that were not like innovative, but he didn't do anything off the wall. You didn't have Miller Moss running around back there for 15 seconds and then hucking something deep. It seemed like they stayed on schedule as far as down and distance wise. And for me, it was, I went to the casino and I was going to bet the game, and I looked at it and I said, it dropped down to 4 right before I placed my bet. And I said, I don't trust Brian Kelly in a big game. And that's what it was.
Nope. His post-game press conference and just how he's carrying himself reminds me of something I've seen a million times. The guy, Richie, still a fake accent. Fuck, I agree. And I just want to show this because this is Brian Kelly to a T. This is who he is. This is his, just his ego and everything that comes out in this. So let me go ahead and throw it up on here. But I can't stand Brian Kelly for this reason specifically. But he's just such a little whiny bitch. And I can't stand it. So
And we're sitting here again talking about the same things, about not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous. And we're sitting.
Well, my takeaway from that is at least he is taking ownership and there's acknowledgement that there is a problem because LSU in the last couple years has melted down in big games, and it has to be big time frustrating if you're Brian Kelly because you have a great quarterback in the Nussmeier kid, which I thought he played great. He played good enough to win that ball game. So Nussmeier, I think is unbelievable. I think Miller Moss is an unbelievable player. The weapons that USC has, they did the graphic where the guys bulked up. They got a new defensive coordinator, and I think it was somebody had asked me why I took USC going into that game, and I just said I think Lincoln Riley's coaching for his bacon here.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
Lincoln Riley is got it all on the line, and he's pulling out all the stops. And also USC wins promotional video of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if you've seen that, but that
was. I wish I had it queued up. That was incredible.
That was.
I tweeted it out, and I was like, I hate USC. I hate USC with a passion. But if I'm a recruit and I see that, I'm like, oh damn, I might be flipping. Yeah. Like, that was sick. But here's the thing with Brian Kelly, and I hear what you're saying about him taking accountability, saying he's not doing good enough, he's not doing a good enough job as a coach. But that's after he essentially blames his team already. He's saying that we're sitting on the sidelines thinking the game's over. Like he's blaming his team, blaming his players for not executing, and then tries to take responsibility for it. When in fact, if you guys aren't getting it done, if you have a team in a position to put them away and you aren't doing it, that comes down to one of two things. Either your culture sucks or your strength and conditioning program sucks. Both things are Brian Kelly's responsibility. It's no longer Eddie O's program, Joe Burrow's program. He's been there long enough that his culture is in place. And his culture is when it gets tough, we fold. That's what happens. That's his culture everywhere. And that's the culture he's had his entire career. And that's the culture he'll continue to have his entire career because he's fake.
The tough thing to argue with Brian Kelly is he's kind of won everywhere he's went.
Oh, he's won, yeah.
That's the only argument. But also, I think, when your culture is, getting in the little circle thing and doing the thing with the recruits and riding the mechanical bull, I think at the end of the day, I think some kids see through that, and it's just, it's an unfortunate turn of events because I think they're really talented on offense, and I don't know what they are on defense exactly, but they held USC to 27 points, hold them under 30, and I think that's a good enough mark in college football to win. With the clock rules, you've seen a lot of low scoring games this weekend.
Absolutely. I agree. I think LSU's defense is good. I think their offense is searching for an identity. I think they have a lot of talent, but they don't know what they are yet. But ultimately, I think what you said about the dancing in the videos, the fake accent, like when it comes to Brian Kelly, he did it at Cincinnati, he did it at Notre Dame, he's doing it at LSU. It ultimately comes down to he's phony. And you can't get kids to buy into a program long-term when you're phony like that. You can go out and you can beat the teams you're supposed to beat. You can go out and win 10 games a year and be in contention for playoff spots. But when you go to face a real team, you're going to get your clock cleaned. And he didn't get blown out, but like that's a game he was supposed to win. And you go out there and you just can't get it done. You have everything in front of you. All you have to do is execute at the end of the game and you win the game. But he can't do it.
And also, I believe he's the first LSU head coach ever to lose three openers in their entire school history. But let's move on to the next topic, Carter.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got sidetracked there.
Yeah, sorry. Brian Kelly just gets me going. But in other news, I think the U's back, man. I'm jumping on. It's week 1 overreaction time. I think the U's back. Cam Ward looks like a real dude. And, I don't know.
Is Miami back, or is Florida that bad?
I think it could be both. And I think Florida is in a mess of a situation here. I think overall, they are really just, I mean, you can't overstate kind of what they're dealing with here. And oh shit. All right. Sidetrack, we'll get right back. I'm on the clock. Bijan Robinson sitting there at 5. Tyreek and Amon Ra are gone.
Take Bijan.
Take Bijan?
Yeah.
All right, I'm doing it. All right. But no, let's throw this up. I mean, they have a culture problem at Florida. They don't believe in any of their players, and they don't believe in the program. The culture is a problem. And just to reiterate it here, let me show you what one of the Florida players said after the game. Right here in the locker room, it's Khalil Jackson, I think,
yeah.
But yeah, in the locker room after the game, fuck this team. Like, buddy, that's a bad look, and I can promise you that kid is not going to be seeing the field very much. But when you got players doing this after losing to a rival, and you got a rival's players going up to your recruits in your stadium saying, hey, you better pick the U, baby. You better come to Miami. We own the state of Florida. You come to Miami. That's a problem.
Yeah, I find that a huge problem. I can't believe they had the recruiting girl over there trying to shoo him in the locker room that that had nothing to do with Miami's program, and it just that was just that whole interaction. Probably the last 10 minutes of the game was just a complete and utter shit show.
Yeah. But it's a microcosm of what Florida's dealing with right now. And I'm sorry, I said it, and Florida fans came after me. 5 wins is not a bad year for them this year.
And my thing is that, whenever you talk about G5 Billy, it's for me, the number I get hung up on is the buyout. And especially when you come around to the first of the year, you're going to have to do $20 million worth of revenue sharing that's not in your budget.
I mean, here's the thing. You just saw it at A&M. Buyouts are nothing.
But A&M's got oodles of money, though.
Florida's not hurting.
I don't think they're hurting, but I just think it's hard to write a check for $61 million just for
I'll tell you what,
guy.
I have not inside information. It's well known at this point, but I happen to know that there was a private plane from Gainesville to Oxford, Mississippi after the game Saturday. And I don't know what else you go to Oxford for unless DJ Lagway was on that plane, looking at switching to Ole Miss. I think they're going to talk to Lane Kiffin like, hey, if it comes open, what's it going to take?
Well, the thing with Lane is that they love him at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But if I was him, I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't because at Ole Miss everything is pretty comfortable, and you don't. But see, here's the thing with Florida. The reason why I wouldn't go there is they fire everybody. And you can say what you want about Urban Meyer. They ran Urban off because he magically arose like the fucking Undertaker and says, I'm healed. I will sign a contract on a notebook piece of paper not to work as much, and I will be healed. Come on, man.
Yeah.
They ran Urban off. They fired Dan
I think
Mullen.
Urban ran himself out.
They fired Jim McElwain. Those guys took him. Those guys took him to SEC championship games. They fired him.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
I
go
hear
to
you.
Florida. It is a smothering sinkhole.
Here's the thing, and I know Ole Miss has a plethora of talent around them, and they recruit at a high level. But the state of Florida is the state of Florida. You're gonna have look at what Urban did at Florida. You can recruit at the highest level in college football if you get it done right and if you get the support. Now, outside of that, this all comes down to money, right? I mean, if they come at Lane Kiffin with $15 million a year, and Ole Miss can't match it or won't match it, what's he care? That dude's just trying to get paid, and the co-eds at Florida are banging. So, I mean, not that Ole Miss is hurting, but on top of that,
I'm
yeah,
just saying, if I'm not to cut you off, but if I'm Lane, I wouldn't leave. I would take the phone call.
Yeah, for sure.
Just for the simple
leverage.
fact that it's the leverage of it. And if you're Florida, who's on your short list?
Lane Kiffin, Urban Meyer, and that's where it ends.
You think Urban would even take that call? I don't think he'd
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you know how much it bothers Urban Meyer that Florida hates him?
Yeah, I mean,
do you know how much it bothers his ego that he won 2 national championships at that school and they don't even let him come back? Like, if he got that call, first of all, the money would be ridiculous. Second of all, he absolutely takes that call, and I think he is very interested. He's not done coaching. I don't care what anybody says. He looks comfy, and he is comfy, but he absolutely takes that call and probably does it. I mean, and I know a couple Florida fans that are already on board.
Oh yeah, the message boards are going wild. I'll bring it up after the show, after we're off air, because there's a huge bone I gotta pick with something I seen today. On my short list, I heard AJ McCarron on another show, Siskey and McCready. He said that he would put Wes Goodwin, Clemson's defensive coordinator, on the short list to get a job.
I mean, to get a job, sure. If I'm Florida, that's like if everybody in the world says no to me. Like, if I'm Florida, I'm swinging big.
Not Wes Goodwin. Sorry, it was Glenn Schumann.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I'm not doing this coordinator BS anymore. I'm not going out and getting coordinators. If I'm Florida and I actually want to compete in the NIL landscape in the state of Florida, in the SEC, I need a name. I need a Lane Kiffin. I need an Urban Meyer. I need a Nick Saban, which Nick Saban's not going to do it. That's out of the question. But I need somebody like that. And there's not many of them out there. So I'm going checkbook open, and I'm going hard. And I'm telling them, listen, I already talked to the NIL collectives. I already talked to everybody. You're good. Blank check. What do you need? Let's get this thing right. I need natties.
I mean, Lane's a name, but
yeah, Lane's a name. Urban's obviously the biggest name. I mean, what, Dion?
I sent Chris Drew a DM on Slack about that 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't put it past him either, because I think they might fire the AD too.
Yeah,
if he does, if we might have
knows?
an Earl Bruce situation.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think the AD wants to stick with him.
Yeah, and if that's the case, the president can do exactly what they did at Ohio State and say, hey, listen, you're not going to fire Earl? You're gone. I'll hire somebody that'll fire him.
And I think for the money you're gonna spend, I think Glenn Schumann's the better choice.
Well, you wouldn't have to spend as much, but it's just not a splash hire. Like, it just doesn't get people excited.
You don't think the defensive coordinator at Georgia is a splash hire?
No, what's he done?
He's the defensive coordinator. I'd give him a shot. It's better than trying to pay Lane Kiffin $15 million a year and then he doesn't even come. And who knows,
Well,
Urban,
here's the beautiful thing about that. If you try to pay Lane Kiffin $15 million a year and he doesn't come, the D coordinator at Georgia is still sitting there. You can go talk to him after he says no.
but who's to say that he doesn't get another job somewhere? Because Arkansas might be coming open too.
They already have their coach in waiting.
But I just don't think that. I don't.
I hear you.
If you would say in 2004 through 2014, Florida's a better job than Arkansas. I don't know right now from the Wutan flu till now that Florida's a better job than Arkansas.
No, Florida's absolutely a better job than Arkansas.
I don't know about
the only thing Arkansas has is they do have NIL money. They have it's the Tyson chicken guy or something like that.
And
that's the main guy.
I believe the Walmart folks are involved too, but I don't know if that's if it's not debatable here, Carter, because Florida's been a smothering sinkhole ever. They fired everybody that was successful. How do you fire coaches that take you to the SEC championship game? Florida, at some point, they got to figure it out and figure out what they want, because you're not Georgia and you're not Alabama of the 2000s. You're not even LSU.
No, I mean they've been down, but that just proves why they fired people. Why aren't they that?
Because I don't think you can get over the hump at Florida.
Oh, you absolutely can. Florida has every resource available to it. I think, and yeah, Urban or Sack Smith, give me either one. I'm good. Let me tell you, Sack ain't taking that phone call. I'm kidding. If he got offered the head coaching job at Florida, I bet a bunch of money he takes it. But
I bet he would too.
But either way, but I don't know, man. And if you give me Urban Meyer at Florida, buddy, I'm breaking out the blue and orange again. I got so much Florida stuff from back when Urban was there the first time. I'm breaking it out. I'm a fan. That's a great hire.
I don't know. I mean, I heard Neil McCready talk about this at length the other day, and he asked the same question I did. I kind of stole his question a little bit. But it was do you think that Florida is a better job in the SEC? I think Florida is mid-tier. I think Georgia 1, Alabama 2, LSU 3.
Okay.
I would put being in Oxford over being at Gainesville.
No.
As far as livability, expectation, the only way you're getting fired in Oxford if you win ball games is have a little mishaps on the old cell phone. Just don't call.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess if you don't want any expectations and you don't care about results and you don't want to succeed and be successful, sure, it's a comfy job.
But realistically,
you got to understand these guys, man. These coaches don't want that. Like, these coaches want expectations. They want to be in a place that expects to win. And I'm sorry, outside of Georgia, Bama, LSU, that's about it.
You do. They did fire Matt Luke, but I don't. But look at some of the upstarts. I think there's a lot of resources that are untapped at the old University of Arkansas, and then Missouri got that $60 million blind donation. Who would think Missouri would turn around to be a major player? And then you have Texas A&M that has unlimited pockets.
Yeah.
So I just, you're selling me the state of Florida, and that's it. Where everybody comes.
I'm selling you the state of Florida, which has a plethora of talent, one of the top 3 states in the country. I'm selling you the tradition of Florida, which is a national championship program. I mean, in the last 15 years, yeah, it's been down. I agree. But every other program in the SEC that's not named LSU, Georgia, or Bama hasn't done anything more than Florida has done in the past 15 years. So you can't tell me Florida's not a better job than those programs when they've won more recently. They have more tradition. I mean, it's just Florida is a top tier program in the SEC, top 5.
I would argue Auburn. If I'm a recruit,
Yeah.
I'd rather go see what's going on at Auburn.
Okay, so there's your 5: Georgia, Bama, LSU, Auburn, Florida. If you want to throw Texas in, I guess.
I forgot about Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'd put Texas and Oklahoma above them too, because
Mm,
Sark's got it going on, and then OU is
yeah.
I think Florida is halfway to. I think they're 8 or less. I'll give you Mississippi State.
I don't know.
I think
That's tough, but
they're neck and neck with Ole Miss. And if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm staying in Oxford. So I'm staying in Oxford and getting a raise.
That's fine. I disagree just because of the amount of success Florida's had in its history compared to Ole Miss. I think ultimately, as a head football coach in college football, you look for opportunities to be part of tradition and history and excellence. And there's a lot more of that at Florida than most of the other schools in the SEC.
And I'm not saying there's not, but it was like this, midway through last year, whenever Ole Miss and Florida started to struggle, they were bringing up the Lane Kiffin to Florida. I don't think he would make that move, because in 3 years you could be out on your ass, where you could still possibly be at Ole Miss. You're not moving and you're not starting over there. And there is no more Nick Saban rehabilitation school for coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lane's past that at this point. I think he's obviously proven himself as a head coach and a recruiter. I think he doesn't need, even if he gets fired at Florida, he'll go. I mean, he'll go get another job. I don't. And as a head football coach, you can't worry about that. You can't worry about what if I fail. I mean, that's just a loser mentality.
Well, I'm not saying what if you fail, but I would think making it to the SEC championship game, and then that makes you a playoff team. If you lose the SEC championship game and you lose a playoff game early, and you're rolling into work thinking everything's kosher, and they say, oh yeah, here's your walking papers, and then you got to go be the offensive coordinator at UMass. No, thank you.
Well, I think I'd have to look it up. Those coaches didn't get fired the year after they went to the SEC championship.
I'm pretty sure
I'd have to look it up. I don't know. Well, McElwain was a lame duck coach. That's different. But either way, I still think ultimately Florida's a better job than a lot of schools, and Lane Kiffin would definitely entertain it. But regardless, and Deion would entertain it. But
I think Deion's on the first plane out of Colorado. First chance he gets.
But I think there might be another school that has a little more pull on his heart that maybe, just maybe, might have an opening soon.
They are not moving on from Mike Norvell. I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it either. I'm just saying Florida State absolutely sucks this year. I mean, they are one of the worst teams I have seen in a long time.
I don't know how you put that back on track, because I think it ran it aground with Bill O'Brien coming into the dope and running the ball down your throat. If I'm Mike Norvell, I mean, you have a tall task right there. You have a huge task.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. They are not only getting beat. I mean, they're 0-2, right? They started 0-2. Playoff shot gone. They're done. They're cooked. Not making the playoffs. ACC championship all but gone. They've lost 2 ACC games to start the season. So cooked. They're getting absolutely bullied by these teams. They aren't losing on fluke stuff by turnovers and penalties. They are getting absolutely manhandled. in the trenches, DJU need to get a job. He is inaccurate. He's everything that we've seen from him his entire career has not gotten better in 22 years of college football. He has not improved one time. And everybody coming in, and I know his dad watches everything. I'm sorry. I think he's a good kid. I hope he gets better. But he is what he is. And everybody thought this would be a massive level up for him. He's going to get into the Florida State program, the Jordan Travis program. And I saw a tweet, it was one of the best things I've seen. The fall off from Jordan Travis to DJU is the biggest fall off in college football at the quarterback position since the fall off from Trevor Lawrence to DJU. Yeah. And the wide receivers, mediocre at best. Can't get separation. The defense is underwhelming. They're supposed to have the best defensive line in college football. They're getting thrown around like a bunch of fucking rag dolls. I mean, everything about this program right now is in shambles. My buddy Snaps, who's a huge Florida State fan, was telling me before the season all the plus sides, and he was a little concerned about some of the things, and everything he was concerned about is everything they're dealing with. They don't have the skill. They don't have the toughness. But he was telling me the D-line was going to be great. They suck. They're terrible. And they are, I mean, he believes, and I believe him, they might not even get to a bowl game at this point. And if you go from 14-0 or 13-0 or whatever he was, and you come back the next season, have like the number one portal class, a good recruiting class, high school recruiting is a problem for Florida State. They can't recruit high school to save their life. And that's why they have to rely on the portal so much. And it worked last year. Keon Coleman, everybody like that, Jordan Travis, obviously. But this year, buddy, it's a bad look.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like that. I feel like there is something else wrong at Florida State, and
It might be a culture issue.
oh, it's a culture issue. It is something because it's not. How do I want to say this? It's not. I don't think the issues at Florida State are just one thing. If that makes any sense, it's. Like I feel like there's some deeper issues at Florida State because the team they didn't fold in Ireland, but they packed it in against Boston College.
Yeah, no, I mean they did. They absolutely did. But the thing is I can't get past it, man. I think there's a problem at Florida State culturally. I think they're weak. They don't have the toughness they need to have. They're not coached that well. The skill isn't there. And they're relying on the transfer portal solely. I mean, their high school recruiting is not great. And I don't understand how you can be a school in Florida and not field a halfway decent wide receiver. There's a million of them down there. Just get a couple.
Okay, let me ask you this. You got to pick one, and it's a straight up no point spread whatsoever. To win one game, are you going to take Florida State? How about I'll put them together. Florida State versus Michigan. Who do you got?
This year?
Yeah.
Michigan.
You think so? You think they would? Because I watched them play Fresno State. Not as close. I was flipping back and forth, but
yeah. Well, here's why I'm taking Michigan, and we'll get into their game after I tell you why. I'm taking Michigan because Michigan still has toughness. And I still believe in the game of football, toughness wins more times than not. And the defensive line at Michigan is tough, and it is elite. The defense at Michigan is elite. They still are good. They shut down Fresno. I know it's just Fresno State, but they shut down Fresno State. Now offensively, they're both train wrecks. But I just at the end of the day, when it comes down to that matchup, Michigan, Florida State, I'm taking Michigan because of the defense. That's it. Because Florida State's defense hasn't proven they can stop the run at all. And I think Michigan's offensive line still has a lot to show and a lot to improve on. But ultimately, I still believe in Michigan's toughness in that situation when it's just a hat on a hat, mano a mano. I'm taking Michigan over Florida State right now.
Yeah, I just didn't know. No, I figured you would roll Michigan. I just, I can't get by the Donovan Edwards' 11 carries for 27 yards. I mean,
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, that is a problem.
I thought
And
I thought they weren't going to have a fall off.
well, that's what we've all been told, right?
And what
But
was the Alex Orgy stuff? This was something that I heard Kirk in Nevada, and they, had the quotes of the Michigan folks all over. Alex Orgy's the next Cam Newton. That's all I heard all off season. That's that was some of the things that they reported. He's the next Cam Newton that threw.
Well, here's what I've learned
passes.
about that. Here's what I've learned about that. If you call anybody the next Cam Newton, he is going to be god awful at throwing the football.
And I don't.
And that's Joe Milton. That's Alex Orgy. Name it. That just don't call people the next Cam Newton. It is a curse.
Well, also, I think somebody in your family had enough of the Joe Milton on his knees throwing the ball 50 yards.
Bro, yeah, he's got a strong arm. I get it, but he can't throw it accurately or read a defense. He's not. I mean, there's a reason that New England's going with Jacoby Brissett.
You never know. Don't count old Joe Milton out.
That dude will be lucky to be on an NFL roster in 4 years.
He's got a thrower's chance.
Yeah, okay. Just call him Jamarcus Russell.
Well, Jamarcus, hey, I wouldn't want to be called Jamarcus Russell stealing from allegedly, so we don't get sued. Allegedly stealing from kids, allegedly.
Yeah, but anyways, Michigan. I mean, listen, Michigan's going to go one of two ways, and it's going to be hilarious to see either way. Because at the end of the day, they can't throw the football. They don't have a single quarterback on their roster, not one. Not a single quarterback that can throw the football efficiently, accurately, anything. They don't have – Donovan Edwards is a great running back when he has a gaping hole and can run straight.
Well.
The O-line is a problem. I was told the O-line wasn't a problem. It didn't matter that they lost 6 offensive linemen this offseason. It didn't matter at all. They have one of the best O-lines in college football still. That doesn't look like it. They averaged, I think, 2.6 yards a carry.
Yeah, they struggled, especially with Donovan.
Against Fresno State, guys. Against Fresno State. Like, I'm sorry, but that's a problem. Now, the one thing they have going for them is the defense looks pretty good.
Hey,
against Fresno State.
Some of the guys from the Valley can ball, all right?
Yeah. Now, I've been, and you can go back and quote me, I've been on the Will Johnson train as long as it's been running. He looked underwhelming. I saw some other corners this week 1 that looked really great, like Travis Hunter, like Benjamin Morrison. They looked real good. But Will Johnson, he got cooked a little bit. Now, he did have that screen pass that he jumped for a pick 6 to make it look a little better. But, I mean, he wasn't exactly locking people down. I think I saw the stat. He was targeted 8 times, gave up 5 receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown or something like that. And 2 of the incompletions were overthrows by the quarterback where he was not in good coverage.
Well, I think everything that we're going to need to know about Michigan, I think, will be answered this weekend.
Oh, they're going to get – well, I don't want to get too over the top, but you're like a 7.5 point underdog at home. You're getting cooked, bud.
Do you know that whenever the lines first came out, it was 2.5? Shout out.
Yeah.
Because I placed that bet. It was I got it at Texas minus 2.5 because of Nevada, and I got it for minus 110. Minus 110. Nice. And it is currently sitting at minus 7.5. But I don't know. I don't like betting minus 7.5. There's like 3 numbers that I do not like.
Yeah.
7.5, 4.5, and 3.5. Those are the three top numbers I do not like to bet. But
Yeah.
speaking of the Big Ten, Will Howard and J.J. Smith, how about those guys having a day?
Hey, have a day, kids. Have a day. Will Howard started a little, or I mean, not Will Howard. J.J. Smith started a little rocky. You know, he had some freshman nerves out there, dropping that screen pass that, honestly, if he catches that, that might be 6 on the first play. But
it Ohio State looked impressive.
no, I mean, but so here's the thing. Ohio State started slow. I mean, they didn't look that impressive early. Defense looked as expected. I mean, they are a fast defense. They're a tough defense. They are going to be one of the best defenses in college football. Jeremiah Smith came out and he showed everybody why he's a starter week 1 as a true freshman. He had a little jitters, dropped that ball, then a false start. Like he just needed to get that out of him. But as soon as he did, man, as soon as he caught that first pass, which, by the way, called it. I called first touchdown in Ohio State's season, Jeremiah Smith. Now, I said on the first play that he catches the ball, it would be a touchdown. And if he catches that screen, I would have been right. But I called it. And he's him, man. He is him. Like, that is going to be one of the most dominant receivers in college football for the next 3 years. Bar none. I mean, he is. Emeka looked good. The wide receivers aren't a problem. We knew that. O-line looked shaky at times, but looked all right. Will Howard looked like what we thought he was. He's a good quarterback who's inaccurate at times, who can't quite make all the throws you want, but he's good enough. And he's got the legs and he extends plays and he makes his offensive line right a lot, which is something that they didn't have last year.
Whenever, the Ohio State fans are probably going to freak out when I say this, but when you walk into the season as the off-season champions, you're going to have a huge expectation. They won the game by 46 points, and there was people
they didn't cover.
Here's just a public service announcement. If you bet a team that's more than a 3-touchdown favorite and they don't cover it,
no.
And you're complaining because they didn't cover the 48.5, you're an asshole.
No, fuck you, cover.
No.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
Oh, here we go.
No, fuck you, cover.
No,
get out of here.
No way.
It's Akron. It's Akron. Cover.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's Akron? They would have covered. They shouldn't have scored a point, but I'm just saying covering 48.5 points.
No. Good teams
is
win, great teams cover. That's it. If you can't cover, you're not a great team. Now, you don't have to cover every week. They still have 11 more weeks in the regular season to cover. And I bet they do most times. But
now, it's just like I heard the outrage of, oh my gosh, they need to be doing this. They need to be doing, like, I was seeing it on Twitter and I'm like, we need Will Howard in the game. And it's like, okay, Will Howard shouldn't have even came out, which I get why he played because they need to get some cohesion and things like that.
Yeah, he needed to play.
And also, I don't know if we brought this up. I believe they unveiled the Archie Griffin statue at the shoe. Now
they did, and he dotted the I. Now, do you know the other people, non-band members that have dotted the I? There's only a handful of them.
Coach Earl Bruce.
Yeah.
Arnold Palmer.
Hold on one second. I don't think Arnold Palmer did. No.
Is it
Arnold? No, different golf.
Jack Nicklaus.
There you
go. They said this the other night on Buckeye Scoop.
Yep. Here, you want me to just give it to you?
Yeah, give it to me.
All right. So there's only a few of them. So it's Earl Bruce that are not band related. So not band directors, not band members, anything like that. It's obviously my grandfather Earl, Les Wexner, John
Okay.
Glenn, the astronaut, Jack Nicholas, Gordon Gee,
Oh, wow.
Buster Douglas, and Woody Hayes, Bob Hope, and Novus Fawcett, who is the president of the university. But so it's a short list, man. They don't let people dot the I. You gotta really do some shit to dot the I at Ohio State. So obviously, winning 2 Heismans should be considered doing some shit.
For all his great deeds and accomplishments, I did hear Barton bring it up the other night that why didn't they have Tressel dot the I against Y-Town? Because Gene Smith's so fair, and
yeah. So here's the thing with that. I think, and this is just the politics of Ohio State. The fact that Earl dotted the I was kind of surprising to us because of the politics that went into him getting fired. But anybody that leaves amidst scandal, I don't think there's any chance they ever have him do it. So Urban Meyer will never dot the I. I don't think Jim Tressel will ever dot the I.
Don't you think we're missing an opportunity there?
Oh, absolutely. But that's not what they care about.
I just like everything that Tressel did is now legal. You got dudes selling, Fords. You got guys selling headphones.
Whoa. What Tressel did is not legal.
Exchanging goods for services.
No, that's not what he did. His players did that.
Yes,
he wouldn't have gotten in any trouble. But lying to the NCAA is still not legal. But I just don't think those guys are going to dot the I. I just don't see it happening. But I mean, we'll see.
Well, I think they missed an opportunity, but that's just.
Oh, I agree. They missed an opportunity. That's for sure.
And I guess John Cooper hasn't dotted the I either. So
John Cooper will never dot the I.
So I get it. It's a whole political thing, but I get it. I get it.
But in other news, on piggybacking off of great defenses like Michigan and Ohio State, we need to. Go ahead.
One thing for everybody watching, whether you're watching on Twitter or you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe button and help us grow this show. That is something that we're trying to do, and we're trying to do some different things here. Carter's going to be giving away some Notre Dame stuff. The Notre Dame report is coming on, so if you hung in this long with us, to talk about some other national landscape topics, just please hit the like and subscribe button and send it to your group chat and help us grow the show, because we're going to be in South Bend for the Notre Dame fans watching as well. We're going to be up there, I believe, the Louisville game, hanging out, doing some
September 28th,
doing some things. So if you could hit the like and subscribe button and help us grow this show. We're also, if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you want to listen to the audio file, it's on Apple Music, Spotify, PodBean. So, we're on some different platforms as well. So if you guys want to help us grow the show, those are a couple ways that can do that.
Absolutely. Go. And also, if you like and subscribe on YouTube, go ahead and hit that little bell up there. That way you get the alerts when we go live, because we try to go live around the same time each week, but with my schedule with the kids and stuff and everything going on, it does move around a little bit right now. I'm trying to iron that out so it doesn't, but hit the bell. That way you get an alert, whenever we post a link that it's going to go live at this time, and you can jump on, interact with us in the chat. We love chatting with you guys and taking questions or just interacting and seeing what you guys think. But yeah, we'll be in South Bend September 28th. So look for us there. We'll let you know exactly where we're going to be ahead of time. But Notre Dame, man, the topic du jour, the big game of the weekend. Hey,
yes, sir.
what did we say? We said that they had to go out and get it done. They had to go out and win week 1, and they did it. They did it. They went into SEC country nowadays, and they went into Kyle Field, one of the hardest places to play in the country, and they got it done. And I mean, Duke, hit me with your initial thoughts when you watch the game, and then I'll run it down because I actually watched the all 22 footage today. I rewatched the game a couple times, and then I got the all 22 footage today, so I watched that as well. But just initial thoughts. What do you think?
Well, I'm kind of on the board of. I think Notre Dame played well enough to win. I thought the offense I think the offense is a work in progress. I think they did a lot of things to hide the offensive line, especially the left side. Just by watching the game on TV, I feel like they need to leave a tight end into chip to help out the left tackle. I feel like as far as scheme and concept, everything that I seen just from the TV copy looked good. Could it be better? Yes. The wide receivers need to step up. Bo Collins did make a big play in the second half. He had a couple of big catches. So just, and I get it. It's week 1. Iron out some kinks. Texas A&M was atrocious on offense. I called my person up that talked to me that, was supposed to be the guy on Connor Wagman. And I pretty much told him he was full of shit because he didn't look any better. But as far as Notre Dame's defense, it's going to be a top 5 unit. There's not much to say there. I think they're pretty much going to dominate everybody they play on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm not concerned about that. The concerning part is the offense, is the offensive line for me, but I don't think it's to a concern. It's at a high enough concern level to where they can't fix it. And, some of those young guys on the offensive line, they play the Northern Illinois, they'll play the Miami of Ohio's, they'll play the Louisville's, and hopefully build some confidence, get some starts under the belt, and get this thing rolling. But the one takeaway that I did not like that Denbrock did was I in the playoffs, you can't run him 12 times a game. It's just not sustainable. It is not sustainable. I said that on Saturday, and you cannot do that. You cannot consistently get him hit. It's just not sustainable at all. And I mean, I get you have to run the quarterback, but he's, even Ohio State with Will Howard, you cannot run these guys 12 to 15 times every game and think it's going to be sustainable, because you got to play 16 games this year, 15, 16 games this year. I mean, I get it. You're going to get a break, but you could possibly play 3 games in January that you're not anticipating.
No, absolutely. So when I watched the TV copy, I was more impressed with Notre Dame than I was when I watched the all 22, on offense at least. My initial reaction is Texas A&M's defense looked as advertised. The D-line was a problem for Notre Dame all game. They have some real dudes on that D-line. I think his name's Sherman Stewart. He was a problem all game. That Scrouton kid from Purdue that transferred in was a problem. So Texas A&M's defense is as advertised. Now, here's the bad news for Notre Dame fans. The young offensive line for Notre Dame, they struggled mightily. I mean, real bad. Anthony Knapp looked like a kid amongst boys out there at times. And that's just, I don't think that's really shocking. He absolutely has potential to be a top player in the league, but he struggled. He missed a lot of assignments, and if I'm being honest, him and Sam Pendleton were the weakness on offensive line. Emil Wagner didn't have a good game either. But there was a lot of miscommunication on the offensive line when it came to picking up blitzes, where the center thought and pointed out one thing, and the guard and tackle, specifically on the left side, did something else. And so when that happens, it's miscommunication. The center's not being loud enough. The center's not calling it out well enough, or they don't understand the calls. On top of that, they looked really, really bad in the run game. I mean, the running backs, Jeremiah Love made the offensive line look so much better than it was in the run game. I mean, they got absolutely dominated in the run game. Now, on top of that, wide receiver blocking was inconsistent. I saw a couple times where wide receivers made really good blocks. I saw the one triple option type of play where Riley Leonard did a read option and then sprinted out, read the defender to see if he crashed on him, and he had a little flat route to the tight end. Those wide receivers held their blocks for like 5 or 6 seconds, looked great. But there was a lot of times where I saw specifically Chris Mitchell and Bo Collins completely whiff on blocks on the perimeter. So the wide receiver blocking was inconsistent. Tight end blocking was inconsistent. 87, God, his name is escaping me right now. He missed blocks all day, but he made one key block that led to a touchdown. So there was some bright spots there. The wide receivers on the edges showed flashes. Bo Collins showed flashes of being a true wide receiver one, but overall, underwhelming.
Cooper Flanagan.
Cooper Flanagan, that's it. Yeah, Cooper Flanagan and Eli Reardon, the two backup tight ends. They missed a lot of blocks. Cooper Flanagan made one really great block that sprung Jeremiah Love for a touchdown. But ultimately, they just were inconsistent. Wide receivers were inconsistent in the throw game and the block and the run game. Bo Collins made some really great plays, but he also made some really iffy plays. Riley Leonard looked completely out of sync at times. He looked really good. He threw a couple passes where you're like, damn, that's a dot, like on him, like really great field side throws on comebacks, on everything. And then he had Bo Collins on a back shoulder where he wasn't covered really well, but he wasn't wide open, but he absolutely missed him 5 yards to the left, to the sideline, to the boundary. And if you put it on his back shoulder, that's a catch. Now, couple drives later, he puts it on him and it is a catch. So Riley Leonard had some really great throws, but he was inconsistent and his accuracy wasn't always there, which is what we talked about in the offseason. He's not the most accurate guy. He's going to miss some throws. And obviously missing the spring, he wasn't totally in sync with the offense. That's just my opinion as far as the bad things. And I'll jump into the good things here in a second. But, I mean, that's just my opinion on kind of what I saw that concerns me.
Do you think him hitting his hand on that helmet early in the second half could have maybe affected his accuracy? Because it did take the skin off, and I don't know if bruising started or not. But
yeah, I mean, it definitely could have. But the first half is really where they were most atrocious. I mean, the first half, he missed a couple big throws. He had a guy wide open, and he decided to throw a fade route into a covered guy, and he got bailed out by a pass interference call that shouldn't have been called, honestly. But that's definitely could have contributed to a couple missed throws later in the game. I don't disagree. Now, the good news is that defense is elite. I mean, elite. That front seven is second to none based off of week one. The linebackers really impressed me. The young linebackers specifically. D-line was on point. That secondary, I never had questions, but that secondary is going to shut down everybody. So as out as you are on Connor Wegman, he might have just gone up against the best defense in college football. So he might not be that bad. But
we'll see on that. Here's a question that you don't have in the notes. So let's say Notre Dame, takes Northern Illinois to the woodshed, who comes off the bench first? CJ Carr or Steve Angeli?
I think Angeli. I think they're going to get Angeli ready because I think if Riley Leonard does get banged up, I think they'll roll with Angeli just because of age and experience and everything like that, time in the program. So I think they need to get Angeli some reps. But I think if the offensive line progresses, if things get better offensively, I think you could see both of them in the game.
I that's a storyline that I'm following because I think it's going to have major implications going forward.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
and mark this day down. We have said this, and some people that don't pay attention to the game and garbage time, and they don't think that those reps at the end of the games, well, they matter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, they do.
They matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you're winning; they matter. Ask the guy Ryan Day if they don't matter.
Yeah, absolutely they do. And I think they'll get both of them reps if they can, but I would be surprised if it's not Angeli first. But on the other side, the other good things I saw, like I said, the running backs really performed well. They had some misses in pass pro, but other than that, I mean, Jeremiah Love had one of the best pass pro sets I've ever seen a running back have since Ezekiel Elliott. And Jeremiah Love is a dude. I mean, that guy is going to be a problem for defenses. On top of that, Riley Leonard showed promise. His athleticism was the difference in the game. And like you said, you can't expect that every week for him to run 12 to 15 times. But I think they just faced probably the best defense they're going to face all year, unless USC's defense is as for real as people think after playing LSU. And the O-line, although they struggled in the run game, they actually pass pro pretty well. Anthony Knapp did a pretty good job on some really good defensive ends in the pass pro. And then Bo Collins showed flashes of why he can be a wide receiver one and why he was number 2 on Ohio State's board above Marvin Harrison.
Breaking news, John Emery Jr. torn ACL. LSU's running back.
No way. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, and Mertz out as starter at the University of Florida.
Yeah, Lagway's got to be the guy.
Those are breaking news, not to steal your thunder. And then and then you got a recruiting update.
Yeah, absolutely.
15.
So you go ahead and take it. This is your breaking news.
Well, is Deuce Knight going to flip this weekend?
I don't know. I thought it would have already happened by now if it was going to happen.
Well, I think there's something holding it up because I've been on top of this and I have said, everybody keeps on saying crystal ball to Auburn, and he hasn't left yet.
Yep.
I think he takes a visit to Ole Miss.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could see it. I think I'm going to say no, he doesn't flip this weekend. If I had to guess, I know there's reports out there. I know that that's being talked about at nauseum at this point, and we're in kind of a dead season for recruiting. But I don't think he's going to flip right now. No, I'm not saying he's not going to flip eventually, but I think after he watched Notre Dame go in and do what they did against a SEC program, I think he's rethinking things.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It might be as good as gone, but I think he's going to take a visit to Ole Miss before it's all said and done.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think he flips eventually. I mean, if I'm Notre Dame right now, I'm telling them like, hey, if I don't know which they might know where they stand, and they might believe that they are still firmly in the lead. But if I have any hesitation that he's going to flip, I'm telling him, hey, listen, I need to know right now. if you're flipping, you better do it now. Because if it comes down to signing day and you flip on signing day, that's a bad look for Marcus Freeman, and it's a bad deal for Notre Dame.
Well, the big issue you have is that, you know, at his high school game, he's got the Auburn towel
Mm-hmm.
hanging out the back, and then we're taking visits, and there's some schools out there that if you take another visit, they yank your offer. So
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that to this kid, and nobody's going to.
No, it just
So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, I told Notre Dame fans from the get that I didn't think he was going to flip. I changed my opinion, but I said if it gets to in season, that's good news for Notre Dame. So we're in season now. So the outlook is shifting, in my opinion, a little bit.
Yeah, but I guess we'll cap it on that note. What time are you wanting to go on Saturday, Carter?
We'll probably go like 1:45 Saturday afternoon. So hopefully the noon games will be at halftime. I know we got Texas, Michigan at noon. I have my daughter's soccer game at noon, which I swear to God, these people don't even look at the college football schedule when they schedule these things. But so I'll be watching Texas, Michigan, and then right around halftime, probably 1:45, 1:30, we'll go live, and we'll break down and preview the Notre Dame game this weekend, which kicks off at 3:30. And then, as always, we'll do a Twitter space after the game. Any Twitter watching, come join our space, talk to us. I love interacting with you guys. So, I mean, you can tell me I'm a dumb idiot. You can tell me whatever. Like, call me with, I don't care. Or tell me, hey, you got this right. I like this. You know, give us feedback. Feedback is the only way we're going to get better at what we do.
Right. And if you are watching this, please hit the like and subscribe button so we can grow this. I know we've been hammering that, but we're on the cusp of getting this show to take off. But if you can do that, but that is
absolutely, guys. Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in. We're gonna, from now on, we'll go live on Mondays. Labor Day kind of threw a wrench in it, so we'll go live Mondays, Wednesdays, occasionally Saturday before the game, and then we'll do the Twitter Spaces after. But that's the schedule right now. Like and subscribe, retweet, all that stuff, and just let us know, man. Comment on the video. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. Let us know where we're wrong, where we're right, everything like that.
all right. With that, everybody have a good night.